What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of The Inside Perspective. I'm your host with the mother most, Lee. Before we get into this episode, I just want us to take a moment, just take a second and breathe. I don't know, just the way the world is set up, I just feel like we need to start learning how to just slow down and take a moment. So if you could join me and take some deep breaths, I'd appreciate it. We're gonna breathe in through our nose, out through our mouths. Again. One more time. My spirit needed that. I hope it was beneficial for you as well. To get into today's topic, so the title of this episode itself is InternaLiy, entering your villain era. And so internally, looking inward, focusing on self, taking care of you. You're the main character of your story. So definitely got to take care of yourself and your being. But then entering into your villain era, I never thought that I would actually condone such actions. But I'm doing this in a different way. I'm doing it my way. So that's what gave me the permission to do so. And so when we think about villain era, I asked a few of my friends, like, what y'all think about villain era? And some of them was like, why you gotta be so evil? Or my guy said, drugs, liquor, little hoochie shorts, self-care, self-love. And I'm like, yeah, that's how I'm feeling it. That's how I'm feeling it. But then I'm just like, why they gotta be villain? Like, what is it that makes it the villain era? And so I thought about, like, most of the time manipulators, when they're mad that they can't manipulate you anymore or use you anymore, they now deem you the villain. They make you the bad guy. And they'll try to manipulate you into thinking that you putting yourself first is a problem for you. But that's not the case. It's a problem for them, but because they're such a manipulator, they're trying to make you think that it's an issue. Crazy, right? Crazy. Yeah, I've had a few manipulators in my life, and a few of them have won. A few of them had truly made me believe that me putting myself first, me stepping back from the relationship, connection, situationship, whatever it may be, was a problem for me. Would have been a downgrade, or how you gonna do this without me? How you gonna be this without me? And whenever I didn't have such a strong mental health and such a assurance of self, that I believed them. But now looking back, I needed those moments because I needed to learn, I needed to grow, and I needed to understand. And so now, whenever I think about my villain era, it's really about me enforcing my boundaries. And for a while, I didn't know what that looked like because I grew up in a household where there weren't many boundaries. Because I was never really taught what boundaries were, I didn't know how to apply them in my life. And whenever I said I didn't know what boundaries meant, like, if my mama told me that I can't go past the second house on the street, that's my boundary. But to put that in mentally, what is my boundary? So for example, one of my friends was talking about her relationship with her mom, and it was starting to become very triggering for me. And so I was like, well, you know what, sis, I love you. And I really wish that I had the capacity for this conversation. But I feel like I'm starting to have a panic attack or an anxiety attack. So I think we just need to pause this conversation and we can pick back up on it another time, another day. But right now, my spirit can't take it. That's a boundary. Or if you decide I'm no longer answering texts, phone calls, whatever, after 9:30 at night, that's a boundary. But some people won't like that. Even some of your friends won't like that. But that's okay. You didn't put it in place for them to like. You put it in place for yourself, for your mental health, for you to learn how to wind down before bedtime. That's why you did it. And I'm not saying that your friend is a manipulator. Your friend might be, I've heard it all the time. I used to go to bed at 9. I'm leaving my friend's crib at 7:30 because I need to go prep. Man, you leave early as heck. Man, isn't that the sun still out? Man, well, who is going to deal with the ramifications of me staying up late at night? Me or you? Me, exactly. Thank you. Moving on. Those are some examples of some boundaries. And I feel like a lot of times whenever we find ourselves in situationships, I call those whenever you're playing house. Like whenever you're acting like you're in a relationship, you're doing everything that is a relationship, but you're not in one. They work for some people. They don't for most. There's a type of mentality you have to have a successful situationship. It's important to have boundaries though, because you have to take care of yourself. You have one mind, one soul, one body. You have to take care of it because you have to realize in this world, there's givers and there's takers. And there's some people who can go back and forth between giving and taking, which is beautiful. But there's some people that are just extreme takers. And you have to learn when to stop giving because they don't know when to stop taking. I'm going to say that again. You have to learn when to stop giving because that individual won't know when to stop taking. And before you know it, you're depleted of everything that you have, whether that is your financial self, your emotional self, your spiritual self. When you start neglecting hobbies, people, whatever, because you've encountered a new situationship or even a new friendship. And I don't believe people are intentionally toxic, at least most. Some people are, 1000%. But not all people are intentionally toxic. We have to realize that we're in a world where a lot of us are healing. Like life is an overall healing journey. And so we have to, create space for those individuals to continue healing and growing. But that doesn't mean you have to be there alongside of them for that process. I was talking to my secretary the other day, and she was like, baby, you got to learn to love people from the balcony. I said, oh. She said, you can cheer them on, love on them, encourage them, toss them some beads, whatever it may be. But you need to learn to love them from the balcony. And I said, oh, okay. Okay. But at the time that she told me that, I still hadn't let go of the individual that I needed to love from the balcony because I was so worried about their mental health and their mental stand-being. I don't know if stand-being is a word, but it's going to be one today. I wanted to make sure they were okay. I know that they needed certain things in order to be their best self, but I was so caught up in them that I was completely neglecting myself. And then at one point, they showed their colors. And this wasn't the first time they showed me their colors, but I'm over here trying to paint a different picture. And I should have just paid attention. I should have trusted myself. I should have trusted my gut, stuck to my boundaries that I had set up, and I wouldn't have found myself in the situation that I was in. So I had to reset my standards. I had to reset my standards. I had to reset my boundaries. I had to create stronger ones, enforce them. When it comes to standard, it's almost as if like the type of person that you decide to keep around you. Like, it's like there's a currency to be around you. There's certain pillars of values that you need to have in order to be around me. Some of my biggest pillars are love, patience, kindness, intelligence, headstrong, confident, vulnerability. If you can't show me any of those over a couple of periods of time, then I won't be spending that much time with you. We could be cool, we be acquaintances, but you're not my dog. In order to be close to me, in order to be in my tight circle, my top 5, in order to be in my top 5, you have to display those characteristics. That's not you proving yourself to me. That should just be who you are. I won't have to worry about if so-and-so's talking stuff about me behind my back because I've already understood the type of character that they are. But that doesn't mean somebody won't switch up on you. When that happens, see it for what it is. Don't try to paint a different picture. Don't also hold that individual in that space. If they're your friend, check them. Like, friend, I ain't like that for real. I ain't like how you did that. That's quote unquote you being a villain. It's not, crazy Joker villain or anything, but it's holding people accountable. The way that you spoke to me the other day, I really didn't appreciate that, and it made me feel this way. You made me sad whenever you did this. You really have to start talking to people like this. Instead of getting all rah-rah angry on some, I can't believe you talk to me like that. I'm a da-da-da-da-da, blah, 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 blah. However you talk. Don't do that. Because if anything, that's coming out in anger. You don't want to communicate in anger. You can't. Anger just fuels anger. Anger sparks anger. But then we have to understand that at the end of the day, anger is a secondary emotion. And 9 times out of 10, you're probably hurt, scared, or sad. Frustrated even. Which triggers the anger. So when people, I used to hear like, oh, they have anger issues, they have this, they have that. Maybe they're insecure. I've been in moments when I felt insecure and my anger flashed. And I was so embarrassed because I'm out here being angry when I know at the end of the day, I was embarrassed because I was insecure. So to circle it back and to bring it back, we got to learn how to communicate with our friends and our people effectively. And don't be too quick to just cut people off. I'm not saying you got to hear everybody out. I'm definitely not saying that. But I will say speak your mind and hold individuals accountable. And then see how you want to navigate the connection from there. If it was enough to where you feel like, I don't want this individual around me for a minute, set that boundary and stick to it. I was reading a book. It's called Think Like a Monk by Jay Shetty. And what he told, one of the prompts was to do was write down all the people you spend the most time with in your life and how many hours you spend with them. Are you truly spending time with the people who are truly beneficial to your growth? Or are you just out here hanging out? It's cool to hang out, have your moments, but if you're spending 13 hours hanging out with some people that are really not helping you grow, but then you're only spending an hour with a mentor, or an hour outside of that conversation with the mentor working on what you're trying to get towards, what's really going on? What's really happening? So hop in your villain bag, okay? Go be a villain. Take care of yourself. Put yourself first. Don't only hold yourself accountable, but hold the people around you accountable as well. Start doing things to improve your mental and physical health. All the energy and time and money or whatever that you were pouring into other people, pouring into those ungrateful people, take it back and give it to yourself. An example of what that looks like: go out to lunch by yourself. Go sit in a booth by yourself. Don't go on your phone. Order your food. Take each bite of your food. Pay attention to what it tastes like, what the texture is, all that. Pay attention to you. We so quick to see how somebody else like their food, how somebody else want their chicken cut up. But do you even know that about yourself? Do you know what you like? And if you do, lovely. Keep digging, keep growing. But if you don't, really think about that and think about why. Why not? Why not know you the best that you could? You spend all your time trying to figure out everybody else, whether it's your partner, your parent. That's a whole can of worms. Your boss. Think about you. Think about what you want. And give it to yourself without feeling bad. You go out and drop a bag on your partner, on your parent, but then you go spend $20 on yourself and you over here making yourself feel bad. Don't do that. What type of message are you sending to your body, to your brain? Because yeah, think about this. Like, our body thinks in cycles. Everything around us, internally, externally, they're cycles. So if you're teaching your body every time you go out and buy something for your friend, for your partner, for your parent, ooh, they're going to love this. They're going to do this, da 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 da. But if you go and grab yourself some and you're like, I could have waited for that. I didn't really need it. You're already teaching your body that you don't deserve great things. Now, don't go out there and splurge. Don't go out there and drop a bag of, don't spend more than you make, okay? Be mindful of what you're doing. But spend some time on you, man. Put you first. That's being a villain. It's so funny to use it in this context, but I'm going to run with it. Be a villain. You may not be the villain in your story, but you may be the villain in somebody else's. But again, it's because they're upset that they can't have you the same way that you allowed them in the past. In order to start on this, you gotta practice gratitude. You wake up in the morning, I spit 3 things I'm grateful for. Before I even brush my teeth, I'm spitting that hot air out. I'm grateful for my life. I'm grateful for my family. I'm grateful for my ability to help others. Put that phone down. You don't need it when you first wake up. How dare you just crack your eyes open, you looking over, scrolling on Twitter, Instagram, TikTok. Now, don't get me wrong. I was caught up in the TikTok chokehold too. I sure was. Every morning I wake up, lay in the bed almost like to work. But then I realized how shitty I used to feel throughout the rest of the day because I didn't wake up and say what I was grateful for. I was already on TikTok or Instagram trying to figure out who said what about who and just miscellaneous stuff that truly had nothing to do with my inner growth or inner being. Now I got myself back on a schedule. You know, I almost created a schedule for somebody else before I had one for myself. Jesus. But yeah, boo, this is what you need to do. You need to wake up early. Give yourself time before work. Stretch, meditate, pray, whatever you find, deep connection and pleasure in with self. Journal. Then prepare for your day. Whether you want to cook breakfast or you want to brush your teeth, hop in the shower, and then cook breakfast, whatever you want to do. Meanwhile, I'm still over here just scrolling. Aimlessly scrolling. But then whenever I decided to put that into myself and see how much of a difference it made in my day, in my morning, whenever I decided to wake up, I'm waking up early, making sure that I'm taking care of myself first, not that device. I'm waking up, making sure I'm touching base with myself, making sure I'm good. You gotta take care of yourself first. You can't pour from an empty cup. You really can't. So truly, you need to sit and ask yourself, what does my villain era look like? And don't worry about how to impact the other persons. Sometimes people need to appreciate or find an appreciation for your absence since they couldn't appreciate your presence. Stop allowing people to have access to you when they barely care about you. They care about what you can do for them. Okay? Pay attention to the type of people you have in your life. Turn to a villain and cut them off. Period, poo. So with that being said, drink some water, go meditate, and put yourself first. You deserve that. And if you're feeling like you don't deserve it, you need to unpack it. Journal, talk about it, and start treating yourself the way that you deserve, and stop waiting for other people to do it. When you start putting your health, especially your mental health, in somebody else's hands, it's just setting up for disaster. Don't do that to you. Give yourself the best chance at joy. Joy is everlasting. Joy is a place of mind. Happiness will come and go. But joy, it don't matter if you stubbed your pinky toe. It's gonna hurt, don't get me wrong. But you still gonna realize at the end of the day, you have so many things to be grateful and joyous for. There's no reason to focus on that. And it's gonna be hard at first to let certain people go, let certain habits go. It's not always people. Sometimes y'all physically do things that are not good for you. Please put that jewel down. Please, Lord. Anything that makes you inhale toxic metals, what they be talking about, nickel and lead, please put it down. Put it down. Throw it away. Let it go. Be the villain in that jewel story. Give yourself the best chance at joy. Take care of yourselves, okay? Until next time.